Some murders explode into chaos. Sirens, screams, panic. But what if a murder arrives quietly? What if the dead man doesn't interrupt anyone's life? Because everyone had already learned how to live without him. Wake Up Dead Man opens on a death that feels almost accepted. No rush, no outrage, just silence. And that silence is the real mystery. Because this film isn't asking who killed him, it's asking something far more disturbing. How many people saw this coming and chose to look away? This is Film Verdict, and today we're unpacking why Wake Up Dead Man might be the darkest and most unsettling Knives Out story yet. From the very beginning, Wake Up Dead Man makes one thing clear. This is not your usual Knives Out experience. The tone is heavier, the colors are colder, the pacing is slower. Even the humor feels restrained, almost uncomfortable. This movie doesn't rush to entertain you. It takes its time, setting a mood built on unease and quiet tension. If earlier Knives Out films felt like clever dinner parties, this one feels like a wake, quiet, awkward, and emotionally loaded. At the center of this story is a death that feels wrong, not because of how violent it is, but because of how easily it's accepted. There's no immediate outrage, no emotional explosion. People continue with their routines, and slowly you realize something unsettling. This wasn't just a man who died. This was a man who had already been erased, ignored, dismissed, tolerated at best. When someone exists on the margins long enough, their death stops feeling like a shock and starts feeling like an inconvenience. That idea becomes the emotional core of the film. Daniel Craig's Benoit Blanc returns, but this is the quietest version of the character we've seen. He speaks less. He observes more. Instead of dazzling rooms with clever speeches, he listens, carefully. He notices what people say and what they avoid saying. This Blanc feels burdened, not by the difficulty of the case, but by what the truth is going to reveal about the people involved. It becomes clear early on. This mystery isn't about intelligence, it's about morality. Structurally, Wake Up Dead Man unfolds like a slow excavation. Information is revealed in layers. Scenes gain new meaning when revisited. Small details begin to matter. The film trusts the audience to pay attention. It doesn't rush answers. It lets tension grow naturally. And that deliberate pacing allows the story to breathe and to sink in. The setting itself feels like a character. This is a community where everyone knows each other, and everyone knows which questions not to ask. You see it in the body language, in the way conversations stop abruptly, in the glances people exchange before answering simple questions. This town is held together by agreement, an agreement that keeping things calm is more important than telling the truth. And the murder threatens that agreement, not because it happened, but because it demands acknowledgement. One of the film's strongest undercurrents is its exploration of faith and morality. Not faith as comfort, but faith as justification. The movie asks uncomfortable questions. Who deserves forgiveness? Who gets judged? And who gets quietly ignored? It shows how belief and tradition can excuse inaction, how morality becomes flexible when reputation is at stake. The film never preaches, it simply observes, and that restraint makes its message hit harder. There is no single villain in this story. Instead, there are many small failures. Someone stayed silent, someone looked away, someone benefited and didn't ask questions, someone convinced themselves it wasn't their responsibility. Each choice feels minor on its own, but together, they form the crime, and that collective guilt is what makes the mystery so unsettling. This film uses silence as a weapon. Long takes force you to sit with discomfort. Minimal music removes emotional guidance. Empty spaces emphasize absence. This is not a movie designed for distraction. It demands presence. And if you give it that attention, the emotional weight becomes impossible to ignore. When the truth finally comes into focus, it doesn't arrive with celebration. There's no triumphant reveal, no clever victory lap. Instead, there's a quiet reckoning. The answers don't feel satisfying. They feel heavy, because the truth forces everyone to confront something painful. This death was preventable, and that may be the most disturbing revelation of all. Compared to earlier Knives Out films, Wake Up Dead Man is a risk. It sacrifices fun for meaning, speed for reflection, spectacle for substance. It won't be everyone's favorite, but it might be the most honest. So here's the film verdict. Wake Up Dead Man isn't a movie you simply watch. It's a movie you absorb. It challenges the idea that justice always feels good. It reminds us that silence is rarely neutral. And it proves that sometimes the darkest mysteries don't come from clever villains, but from ordinary people doing nothing. If this film leaves you unsettled, that's not a flaw. That's the point. If this breakdown helped you see Wake Up Dead Man differently, hit like. It really helps the channel grow. Share your verdict in the comments. Did this darker direction work for you? Or did you miss the lighter knives out energy? And if you enjoy thoughtful movie breakdowns like this, subscribe to Film Verdict. Tomorrow we return with another movie, another question, and another film verdict.